I think we are live this time. Well, we were live last time, uh, but we tried a different orientation of the camera, and not sure that it worked super well. So hopefully this works a little bit better. It has to do, the camera orientation, with how people see the video. And so we tried horizontal just a moment ago, but I don't think that when you do horizontal, it comes up as frequently, especially in the shorts scrolling feed. And it seemed like very few people knew we were going live. And it's a really cool live that we're going to do today. And so I was just hoping to be able to show some people. We got one person in the chat. What's going on? Person in the chat. We're going to be working on this table, not the disgusting one that you see here. That is a workstation that used to be a junk table. That's why it's got so many splotches. But besides the point, what you see drawn on this table is what we are trying to actually get started. Not get started, we've already started it. Keep making progress on today. So if you can see, it's very interesting. Yo, what's going on, Big Squeegee? What am I making? Yeah, so what am I making today? What are we making today, my woodworking community? We're making a coffee table, and it's actually one of our, I would say, it is up there for one of our most ambitious and interesting designs yet. It's incorporating, I'd say, 4 things that are not typical of tables that we make. Oh, we got chat's blowing up now. That's what I'm talking about. Seattle Woodman, great to have you here. Nightbot, my little Nightbot friend. Thank you for locking it down, the little robo guy. I wonder if we can change his icon there. Make him something, I mean, he's kind of cute, but maybe we could, I don't know, make him like a slug or something, like a little robo slug. What are we making? So it's a coffee table, and some of the things that are different about this, the first thing is that the tabletop, which is typically like, that's what we're going for, right? The tabletop for this table is going to be glass. It's going to be a tempered glass, completely suspended by the perimeter of the table. The reason it's glass is because you look inside of the table and you will see a very unique, interesting topographical landscape made entirely out of solid red oak wood. So if you can kind of see what's going on here, I know we aren't at a perfect angle yet, but if you can kind of see what's going on here, I have drawn, not from any design, I was just kind of hacking it out yesterday, being an artist. I have designed a theoretical, hypothetical, topographical landscape that we are going to be creating out of wood. So every one of these lines right here indicates a different layer or a different height of wood. So down here, you can see my hands, down here is the lowest layer, almost like the floor or canyon of a valley. This is the lowest. In this valley, we've got this right here. It's a little island, just a little bit of a raised topography here. Then we have all of this, which is going to just grow into a mound right here. There will be another mound right here. There will be another mound right here. So we're going to have this depth to the table, but all of the interest in this table is going to be within the coffee table rather than on top of it. The top of it is going to be glass, so it's still a very functional coffee table, but inside, that's where the interest is. The other part of it that's going to be super cool is we're not just making topography here, not just making little hills and valleys and mounds and things like that. We're going to be implementing completely, I wouldn't say self-sustaining, you still have to water them, but you can water these really cool pots right here in the big reservoir, and the dirt and the plant goes in here, and that sits on top of that. So you don't have to worry about water spilling out, but all of these, and we're going to get a whole bunch of them, are going to go into the topography, all the wooden topography in different places. And the idea is we're going to try to make something that looks like a very natural, interesting landscape. But there's a lot of things to do to make that happen. We got some people here. What's going on, everybody? I'm going to try to make the camera not wobble. That's been an issue. We got a very tall tripod on 3 very small legs. That's why we're wobbling. But that's what we're doing. So, like a good TV chef, I have done some things yesterday so that we can make good progress today, and you don't have to watch the very, very beginnings of this. So like I was saying, we have made this design just from scratch. I don't know, I hope it's gonna look cool at the very end, but we have to now figure out how to cut out these organically shaped amoebas into wood. So for instance, yesterday, I glued this piece right here. And I believe he is going to, yeah, he sits here, and a lot of what's coming from him is going to be this mound right here. I'll get you in a different camera angle in just a second. So I've already glued these together. So we need to transfer all of these different shapes onto the wood so that we can cut them out and start building up our topographical layers. That's the plan. What's tricky about it, and this is something I kind of realized today, is I've drawn this beautiful pattern onto my table right here, and I don't want to approximate the pattern onto the wood that I've created. I want to nail it because all of the pattern right now works perfectly with potted plants fitting just so. But if you put this down like that, you can no longer see the shape, and so you can no longer trace it. So we have to figure out a way, and I think I know the way, that we're going to trace those patterns onto these pieces of wood so we can start cutting them out. I see the chat is a little bit more lively. Let me answer some questions real fast so that we can get going. Finette, we're back. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, thanks for sticking with us there. For anyone who's just tuning in, we originally were trying horizontal mode just to give it a go. But there's something weird about how it shows up in people's feeds and things like that. So we are now doing vertical because I think we're going to have a more lively chat. So Finette, thank you for coming back. Let's get going on this. What I'm also going to do is I will put you guys right here. Look at that dirty shop. And we're going to angle you down so that you can see better the topography map. Good grief. That was an interesting chat. I'm sure that's about to get flagged. Okay. So we can see this right here. No, not quite. Let me get you in a little bit better position. Yeah. That's it right there. Okay. So in the other chat, I've already made one of these, and that is right here. You know, it's interesting. I can't even tell. Okay, that's up. So apparently, parchment paper doesn't stick to tape, or I guess the other way around. Tape doesn't stick to parchment paper. So we have to find a way to secure it down so that we can trace out the shapes. Then we will take this off of there, cut it out, and we'll trace these back onto the things that we actually need to cut out. So we have 2 of them done right now, which is great. Let's get this one done, just kind of warm up here. And the way I'm doing it is, sorry if anyone gets motion sickness. Can we see that? We can see that. Did I deliver the 2 tables? Finette, that is a wonderful question. I did deliver the 2 tables. And it went really well. I was very nervous about that for the longest time. But it was kind of a perfect delivery situation. Number one, the interior designer that I had been working with for that came to the shop and saw the pieces before I delivered them. So I kind of knew that it was going to be okay because he saw them and gave them the seal of approval, which is very helpful. And then when I actually went to go deliver the pieces, the client was not there, so they did not get to have to see how the sausage is made and how you actually deliver and install things and what it looks like as you're trying to install it. It's not glamorous. But then, yes, once they were in, then the interior designer had to go on a vacation the next morning. So he was kind of MIA, out of touch. So it all went well. They're in there. They look really good. You'll see pictures in different posts on those soon. So let's keep going on this. We got some people. Finette, thank you for the question. That's much appreciated. We need to trace this, but I don't want it to move around. So I'm just going to use some finishing nails, and I'm just going to kind of hunker it down. Oh, okay. You can't pull it too much or else it's going to rip. Tried to pull it tight, and I pulled it too tight, and it ripped. Can't do that. Just got to pull it a tasteful amount of tight. Yeah, great. Thank you. So just kind of get the slack out of it, right? And at the end of the day, when I transfer these onto the other pieces of wood, I don't want to approximate things, but at the same time, if it's off by, you know, a quarter of an inch or so, I don't think that's going to be the end of the world, especially if that area isn't kind of right next to one of the pots. Really the only reason that the designs have to be close is because some of these pots, like right here, if you can barely see that circle, yeah, if you can barely see that circle, that is a pot. And so if these lines over here came in or out too much, then that pot wouldn't have room to sit on that layer of the topography levels. We'll do one more over here. I'm actually pleasantly surprised with, if you just put a few nails in there, it doesn't really seem to want to move around too much. I know that I've kind of expressed this difficulty to you guys in the past. The difficulty being that it is difficult to film everything I need to do while I'm in live. Primarily all the permanent vertical videos that I use for Instagram and YouTube Shorts, because that's on my phone and I'm doing live on my phone. But I have the YouTube camera going right there. So we're getting that footage. So now I'm just going to trace this. Part of the issue, what's going on here is when I originally made the design on the wood underneath this, I used pencil and I really was sketching it out, making a lot of lines. These lines are super thick down here. And so I don't know exactly where some of the lines are supposed to be. Like, look at how thick this is over here. If you can't see that. Some of the lines are like ½ an inch thick. And so I just kind of have to be a little bit, yeah, I see where I was trying to go with that. That's okay. Just have to kind of have very nice sloping topography lines. And this marker looks to be on its last legs. That's all right. As I'm drawing this, let me try to explain the next concept for this table. Each line represents a different layer of the topography map. I think we're all savvy to that. Each level will be sitting on a piece of wood, but each level is going to have about 90% of what's underneath it be hollow. So this first layer needs to go underneath the next layer up, maybe by like, I don't know, ½ an inch or so. Not too much, but enough to give it some support. And so I don't quite know yet how I'm going to cut that part out or estimate where that needs to be. I don't know if that maybe is a different color that I will use. Could be interesting to figure that part out. Just tracing the lines right now. And this piece that I'm making now is not for any person in particular. This is for that market that you may or may not have heard me talking about in some of the other live chats or on Patreon. So I don't know if anyone's going to buy it, first of all, which is fun. But then the next thing is, never done something like this before, so I don't know how long it's going to take to get all the little details sorted out. And we have a very defined clock that is running right now on when all these pieces, and I say all these, this is one of about 6 or 7 that I need to make before November 17th. This marker is not doing it, gang. I'll get a new one after this shape. So it could be that I get midway through this and I realize, like, oh my God, I thought this was going to be a 30-hour project and it's a 60-hour project. That is definitely in the realm of possibilities. All right, we got chat. What is going on? Okay, is this a table? Yeah, no, this is just a creation right here. There you go, yeah. So let me grab another marker because I do need to draw the perimeter of this, because that also needs to be cut out of the piece of wood. That's a much better marker, but it's almost too juicy now, and I don't know if... I have figured out that tape does not stick to parchment paper, and now I'm wondering if magic marker has an issue with it as well. Because that looks like, I don't know, it looks like I could wipe that off extremely easily. We're going to have to tell. We're going to have to see. But I don't know exactly how to make all of these corners perfectly straight. We'll get there when we get there. Okay, kind of see what I'm doing here? That's the goal. Making out of plywood like that? Yeah, great question, Seattle Woodman. We are not making it out of plywood. The plywood is just what I drew all of the shapes on, just as kind of like my large sketch pad. At Outer Woods, I don't really like using plywood for my final creations, mostly because I don't quite know how to make it look good. And if you don't make plywood look good, then it looks very inexpensive. Because when you look at plywood from the side, you see all the layers of it being built up. I missed one. No? Did I miss a nail? Oh, are you looking at this guy? That guy I'm not worried about yet, if that's what you're talking about. Finette? Was that Finette? That is going to be a circular cutout for a plant later on. And I can, it's this. This is what that cutout represents. And so once I have all my layers of wood, I can easily put this on it just in a nice little spot that fits. That's what I will cut out later. So this guy I can now, this guy I can now take away, and that represents the drawing that I've made underneath it. Okay, stop the YouTube recorder, the DSLR camera, and here we go. Now, the next thing that I have to do, what's up, chat, is some of these bigger ones. The smaller guys were easy. I've done 3 of them, but now I don't know how to make the massive overall shape here. I think that I can make one for this guy, because I know that represents one piece of wood. So let me do that one. I'm going to have to put together multiple pieces of parchment paper. Can I reuse this one? Kind of. Yeah, I can use him. Okay. I am going to have to use multiple pieces of parchment paper here. Where are all my nails? Here they are. I'll just have to overlap them, and then the trick is going to be overlapping them and then getting them back on the pieces of oak that I'm going to cut these out from, and have them line up in the exact same way that they were lined up here. That will be the trick. Okay. Where's the parchment paper? Here it is. All right. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work yet. We'll figure it out. I'm not too worried about it. We can put one over here. It doesn't really matter. And put a couple up here. If anyone's keeping tabs on the splinter that I got 3 weeks ago, it is still in my finger. I don't know how that one's going to resolve itself, because they say that splinters kind of work themselves up. But I was digging away at it for so long. Okay, cool. The magic marker doesn't rub off of the parchment paper. This one's been festering in my finger for so long, I'm worried that it's trying to push itself out the wrong way. And I've dug at it so much that there is a chance I've kind of calloused over the soft skin that it needs to be able to work itself out. So I'm just tracing out that design that I made. For anyone that's just popping in, saw we had a few more people. I'm making a coffee table, and the top of the coffee table, the actual tabletop, is going to be glass, which is the first time I've ever done that. And underneath it is going to be this really cool topographical scene that I'm making out of solid red oak. And if you've ever seen a topography map, you know that it's just layers and layers and layers. And right now, I have made a design on this sheet of plywood. This table underneath is just my scrap table. And I really like the design, and that's what I want the topography layers to look like. But the trick is that on my table, if it's just on my table, I can't trace it onto the wood that I actually need to cut. So right now, I'm trying to trace it onto something where I can actually, why not using some gloves? Why not using some gloves? I'm feeling okay just making some markers, some marks with a marker on some parchment paper. I'm not too worried about my hands, unless there's something I'm just completely overlooking that I should have gloves for. Yeah, so all of these are going to be layers of a topography map. And then the real kicker here, gang, is that scattered about this topography map, there are going to be potted plants. And these potted plants are going to be such to where when you water them, the water doesn't spill out and get in the wood and everything. It's all in the magic of the pot. The dirt's in there, and then the dirt wicks up water that is contained in this white reservoir. That's what we're making. Now imagine some of this chat is going to be me kind of walking in on various parts of things. So ask your questions if you have them. And when I look up every once in a while, I'll check the chat, and then we can just kind of riff on whatever question you guys have, or if I have something important to say about this. Yeah, remember, I do have to make sure that these line up, and I don't quite know how to do that. I guess I could use these nails, these 3 nails, to line up the nail holes. It's going to be a little difficult. I'm wondering if I don't actually want to cut these out, but instead what I could do is when I put the piece of paper on the sheets of wood that I've made, I could just get a nail and kind of hammer it through the parchment paper onto the actual hardwood that I'll be using, and just kind of give myself like a connect the dots challenge to transfer this, because I think cutting these out could take longer than I want to spend on that. And again, I don't want to have to estimate my design that I've already drawn, because I really like the shape of it and it fits really nicely with all the pots. But when I say estimated, I'm just like thinking eyeballing it. But if I had some pretty reasonably close dots to connect, I feel confident that I could handle that. Another thing that will happen on this guy, this table, is each of the layers, for the longest time, the layers were just going to be stacked right on top of each other. Like literally wood contact, like a wood layer contacting the next wood layer. But my mom had a wonderful idea. Mom, if you're out in the chat, shout out Mom. My mom had this wonderful idea where I could space out the layers by maybe like, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch, just use some washers or something like that. And now you'd have space between all the layers, and you could theoretically put lights on the inside. And so between every one of these topographical layers, you have light kind of emitting, which would be really, really cool. Okay, now we're going to just draw some lines to help us with orienting things. I don't know if you guys just heard that. Probably not, because my microphone's probably just picking up mostly what I'm doing. But here's what I just heard. Right over there, outside of my shop, there is a, I don't know, some sort of ranch. I think there's a dog daycare thing somewhere over there. But then also over there is a ranch, and they have donkeys on the ranch. And one of the donkeys, I know it's the same donkey, because they all have their different, I forget what the technical term is for a donkey scream. But this one donkey sounds like someone is getting killed or something. How much time estimated for a table? Great question. They are all very different. And I wish I could give you a good answer on this one. Unfortunately, I can't, because I've never made this table before. And I don't know how long this one's going to take, which is spicy because I have to finish it and 2 other tables in 2 weeks. Anyway, back to the donkey. Sounds like it sounds like someone is in distress, is what it sounds like. And every time it's a donkey. A bray, is that right? Is that the technical term for a donkey scream? Chat? Can I get a chat help? Phone a friend for what a donkey scream is called? And I'm drawing this flat line over here. I don't know exactly how these flat lines are going to work because I actually have to make them really, really straight because I need them to join up really nicely with a vertical piece of wood. A reesnaw. Yeah. I don't know if that's the technical term, but squeegee? Was that squeege? Yeah. That is definitely the colloquial term. We got someone in the chat looking like they're from Brazil. Do I have that right? Elia Minde. That might not be one word. That might be two words, two names. Or it might be one. Either way, cool name. I apologize if I've mispronounced that. This guy's good to go. Again, tape does not stick to parchment paper, which is a real bummer. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this off. Did I turn off that other camera? I did. Going to take this off. Get out of there. But I'm going to leave the 3 nails in that actually connect them. I think. I don't actually know how I'll do that. That can come off. And then I'm thinking we might as well trace this onto the actual thing so that you can see that part. So if I get those loose, I think those are loose now. Great. Let me turn on the other camera so I can kind of depict what I'm doing here. Again, all of this is going to be on a long form, fully edited YouTube video. And so I have to make sure that I'm getting this content captured over there on a screen as well. So how am I going to do this? If I can I get these to stay? I can. That was good. Okay. It should all come up now. All right. Now I have to transfer this onto this guy. What guy, Tanner? This guy, chat. We're there. See how it fits? It was planned like that. And I can't get all of it from this, but I can get most of it. And it just has to do with each subsequent layer. It's not, I do a lot of epoxy tables as well. Great question. Each layer is slightly larger than the layer above it. Oh, does that not? Where is the hole? Unfortunately, I don't think I have wood over here. That's fine. Does this guy have what he does? And is that guy still in there? Huh. You know what the other problem is? I don't want to have nail holes. This is difficult. You know what I mean? If I guess I could do them on the ends. Yeah, this guy's got to come out because he'll be interior. Okay. I kind of had a feeling this was going to get a little complicated at this point. But let's try to get this tacked down. Is that relatively on there? I think so. The paper's just sliding every which way, which makes it really difficult. We have a corner in. Okay, let's see if we can get 2 corners in. Don't rip. I'm having to really focus here, chat. Sorry I'm not being the most entertaining on camera. Can you at least see what I'm doing? Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. Can you clamp them to the wood? Yeah, clamping to the wood is definitely an option. What's going on right now, the reason this is seeming so like fickle, the parchment paper slides around so easily. I like where that one's at. We just need one more to set it. That's pretty good right here. Pretty good right there. Okay, they're in there. Awesome. Now, here's the challenge. That's lined up relatively well. Cutting out this external one, we can do that. This one we can make the line exact, but we have to cut out about like a ½ inch inside of each subsequent line because we need them to have a little lip to sit on. So I'm going to methodically kind of poke holes. I wonder if that's going to be enough. Oh, I can see that. Great. Okay. Sit back and listen to some ASMR hammering, gang. Instead of cutting this out, I'm just going to poke holes in it. That way I don't lose the overall form. So this piece of wood that I have right now, it's going to get me the bottommost layer right here, if you can see what I'm doing. Because it's hollow under this layer, you'd think, oh great, you can get that whole second layer. But this lower layer comes just underneath it, so I won't have enough wood inside to get this guy. But I can use this one, cut out this shape, and I can get that one from it as well. So we're trying to get this guy and this guy from this piece of wood. So two shapes from it. And I'm just tracing out the general shape. I'm hoping that I'm making enough nail holes to where connecting the dots in a nice smooth pattern won't be difficult. Okay, yeah, I have layer 3B and 5B. Not gonna lie, this is much more cerebral than I originally thought it was going to be. Trying to do this and also interface with the live video and do it kind of all in one. The past live videos, it's been a little bit more, I don't want to call it mindless, but straightforward. Oh shit. Jeez. And I'm going to trace with pencil on the wood underneath this after I remove, after I remove the parchment paper. I'm not just going to like jigsaw it dot to dot, you know what I mean? Okay. Okay, here we go. If I do that on all of the defined lines, then I can come back in and remember, I have to bring the outermost layer just inside, maybe by like a half an inch or so of the next layer on top of it. But if I have all the defined lines from my parchment paper on there, then I can do that after I remove the paper. We're good. Oh my gosh, the YouTube video is still going over there. That's a lot of footage that I'm shooting. Gonna be a lot to edit through. But that ASMR is gonna be wonderful when sped up and edited. Let me read the chat real fast so that I can answer some questions. Some thumbtacks. Great question. I don't have any, is the simple answer. I do not have thumbtacks. I looked earlier because we had the idea that thumbtacks would be perfect for this application. So I've got to use these finishing nails. If we pull this table off and it looks 90% of how good I think it will, it's going to be an all-time table. Like one where I think we might do more of them in different shapes and sizes, styles, different plants, different topography, maps, etc. There's a lot of details to get sorted out before we can call it a success, though. Am I relatively in frame? I think so. Oh, I did need to tell you guys this. Show of hands. How many people were on the sushi board live last week? I say show of hands. I'm not actually going to wait to see how many people were or were not. But I know there's probably some of you that were on the sushi board live last week. And if I recall correctly, we started that live somewhere around noon, at least where I am. And I didn't think it was going to be too much longer after the live when I'd be able to finish it. That day, I started working at 7:30 in the morning. That's when I arrived at the lumber store to get the lumber that I needed for those sushi boards. I left the shop, remember, got there 7:30. I left the shop at 10:50 p.m. that night. I was pretty delirious at that point, honestly. So when I originally had said in the live chat last week, hey, we're going to try to get a finish on these sushi boards during the live, I was off by about 7 hours. 7 or 8 hours. Oh my God. I really hope that when I take this off, it will be relatively intuitive to connect these dots again. And I hope that the plan that I have in my head actually works out in reality. Ow. Where the hell's... All right. Is this pleasant to listen to? I honestly have no idea. I know that when I'm making full-length videos for YouTube, or I'm doing like Instagram stuff, when I do these hammer sounds, like click, 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 if I edit them really well and I take out all the dead space and maybe like ×2 on the speed, it makes for really cool ASMR stuff. I just don't know if in real time it's as pleasant. Let's see something in the chat. Yeah, what is this? Great question. So this is a coffee table, and this is the interior of the coffee table. The top of the coffee table is going to be glass, just a glass sheet, such that you will be able to see through the glass sheet inside of the coffee table. And inside of the coffee table is all of these topographical layers of wood. I'm thinking about something. I'm wondering if all these nail holes that I'm making are going to be visible, and I'm actually concerned that yes, they will be, or some of them will be. Shit, some of these will be. Huh. Didn't think about that. That's all right. Okay. I now have all the holes. So I think I can get rid of all this. These are kind of in there, aren't they? Guess it's harder to get out from oak than it is from plywood. Yeah, I didn't think about that. What I just realized is that you will barely be able to see the nails underneath the layers right above it. That was a little stupid. Okay, that's all right. Let's take this off. Good grief, that's just a labyrinth of nails. Wow, that's intimidating to look at. I don't know if you can see it. It's not unpleasant. I'm just trying to imagine another more easier method for you. Yeah, I know. That's maybe not the most efficient. This is part of the fun, I say fun, the challenge of these very, very unique custom tables is that every single step is you have to figure it out. So now I'm making the lines to actually connect these. Huh. I think I've given myself enough lines. Some of them are a little awkward. It might have been that like on one of them I was like on the inside of the line and the next one I was on the outside of the line sort of thing. You just have to make it look smooth and continuous. Which I did a decent job of making enough holes. Yeah, if at any point in the chat, guys, you have a better idea for what I'm doing, I'd love to hear it. Because I'm figuring it out on the fly. Yikes, that just doesn't look very smooth, does it? All right, that's okay. And of all the things that I glued up yesterday, this was definitely the worst in terms of vertical alignment of the planks. And I know what you're thinking. Maybe you're not thinking this. Hey, you could use dominoes. Yes, you can use dominoes. I didn't really want to. Didn't feel like that'd be quite worth it. The other ones are pretty easy to get correct. Vertical alignment wise. I might go over this with a marker after I've kind of sketched it out. To just kind of smooth out some of these little blips. They're very heavy. We can see the pattern. Okay, great. Great. And it kind of, I don't know, I'm very proud of the fact that I've made this glue up the exact size. This glue up was not nearly as complicated as some of the other ones. Some of the other ones, to get pieces of red oak to perfectly cover the odd amoeba shapes, it was actually kind of difficult. Yeah, so let me keep drawing this. What I'm going to try to do actually is just be on the outside of these holes. All right, are we back? I think we're back. All right, apologies, friends. It's probably hard to describe this without a visualization of it in the moment. But the exterior edge of the layer above the bottom layer will be coming right to these holes that I have punched. And they will be visible because the whole dang thing is going to have tiny spacers so that there's just a little bit of room in between layers. Like each layer is going to be floating by a quarter of an inch. And so I'm a little worried that you'll be able to see the holes on each layer. I don't know how I would have done that differently though. And I say that because if I were to have cut out all of those shapes, how would I have positioned each one at the correct spot internal to the last one? It's tricky. This is becoming a tricky table. This step in particular. I'm hoping that I can kind of get better with each topography layer, each additional topography layer. Okay. All right, we got 2 patterns on there. Here's the third. Am I missing anything in the chat here? Your mic is cutting. Can't hear you well. Okay. Yeah, sorry, it froze up. I need to put this thing on Do Not Disturb. Try with indigo paper to make patterns. I don't know what indigo paper is. I'm a kid with a hobby. Okay, right on. All right, I think that's most of the chat. Okay. Yeah, anyone got any questions on things? I'm realizing that I should have made the thumbnail kind of the rendered image that I have of this piece. I don't know. There's no way, Big Squeegee, to post a picture in the chat, is there? Just gonna kind of ask that question to the void. Because I do have a picture. Essentially what I did is I made the design of this on a CAD software, just a 3D modeling software. And then after I kind of got the general picture of it on CAD, I threw it into ChatGPT, and I told ChatGPT how to fill in essentially the parts that I did not design on the CAD software. And ChatGPT, it didn't nail it, but you can conceptually see what we're going for. And I'm wondering if there's any way for us to put that in the chat or pin it somewhere so that, because I can imagine looking from where we're looking right now, I can imagine it's kind of hard to visualize what this table is going to look like. Okay. And I think what we'll do is we're just going to take this one all the way to its finality in the live chat so that you can actually see what we're going for. Great, we've traced it. We can now see that. Finette, dang. Finette saying the sound is a little off. I mean, my mic looks like it's good. Now I hear half is what it said. Dang. I'm not quite sure. It's looking like it's okay on my end, and other people are saying it's okay. I don't know if that's a connectivity thing. Okay. So, good stuff. We need to... What I wonder real fast is each layer is going to have a little bit of space. Just leave the stream and enter again. Yeah, that's a good call. Each layer is going to have just a little bit of a space. And I think that space might be something like the space of a washer. I bet you I could find some pretty thin, like some pretty, like a small diameter, but thick spacer. So I'm thinking that I need somewhere around, I don't know, maybe like 3/4 of an inch thick. Do I have a 3/4 of an inch thick thing? Here we go. Here's some zebra wood. That is 3/4 of an inch. If I do 3/4 of an inch everywhere, this one doesn't need to be perfect at all. I'm just kind of giving myself a little bit of because basically this piece of wood is going to get me every other layer. So this is going to get me 2. I think, man, do I want to make it a little bigger? I'm going to make it a little bigger. Just a little. Maybe like, yeah, I like this size. When I'm able, I think I want to do this size actually. There will be occasions man, this is so mentally confusing. I need to make a line here showing that that one doesn't really count as much. Yeah, I apologize that you guys are kind of having to see me sort through some of this in real time. It's not as smooth and seamless as some of our other streams. Okay, so I can't go any more so than that guy right there. So I need to stay inside of him just a little bit so that I have enough to cut out there. Yeah. All of this is cutting. Okay. So I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense. I've been thinking about this project for months. And so in my head, I kind of know what I'm talking about and things are making sense. But as I'm just kind of blabbering through it, is anyone following me? Like following this whole like overlap concept? That's the question that I'm posing. Yeah, that's the question that I'm posing. Okay, so the first one is going to be cutting around that and cutting around that. Second one is going to be this guy and this guy. Where does he, is it a medium plant? I think it's a medium plant. So see how this medium plant is going to, is that the small one? Okay, that is the medium guy. That's good. I like a medium guy up there, or do I like a small one up there? What did I put down here? That is a small. We're doing a small up here. Okay, that's awesome. That is what I need to cut out. By the end of the stream today, we're going to try to attempt it to where you guys can see the four topographical layers that make up this mound. That's the goal. This is going to give us 2. All right. I need now to find my, so this is the line. This is the line. And then this is the line, and that's the line. Cool. I need to find my scrolling saw. I know exactly where it is, so don't go anywhere. Here we are. Okay. Need to put this on some blocks so that I have room underneath it. Oh, Niku. Am I saying that right? Niku, welcome to the Glue Up Gang, my friend. It's a pleasure to have you here. That's very nice that you're supporting the channel so much. We're going to do lives quite a bit more now that we're sorting everything out. But welcome aboard, Niku. Very, very happy to have you here. I'm going to go out to the magical land of Junkwood, and I'm going to find a few pieces of scrap wood that will enable me. Those are the same height. Oh, man. We just shredded through some data there. We need one more piece. We could probably get by with just two. Okay. So these are going to be spacers right here so that we can actually cut this out. Let's get your back trained in on this. Right on. So Niku, I don't know if you saw the description, but this goes for Niku and everybody. We are doing a, I don't know, a drive, a pledge, something, whatever you want to call it, where for the month of October, every member that we have on YouTube or subscriber on Patreon, I think, or Super Chat, I believe as well, all of those, we are pledging a tree planted in your honor. So Niku just got yourself a tree planted in your honor. Well done. And then at the end of October, beginning of November, sometime in there, we'll do a live stream where we plant all the trees that come from this little movement here. Great. Let's get this up on some blocks. I wish we had one more 2-inch thing. It's up there, but yeah. Do I have any more of those? I know I had another 2-inch block somewhere. That looks like 2 inches. Might be 1 3/4. We can get a shim. Grabbing a shim real fast, gang. And I do want to kind of just point it out again. This is a very technical build that I'm doing right now. So I'm not as I don't know, streamlined, methodical as I would typically like to be for these streams, these live streams. For the live streams, I want to do it really efficiently. But I guess that's kind of the purpose of them, is so that you see uncut stuff rather than nicely edited stuff. But let's see. Hold on. Is there a way to take a 2-second break, a 30-second break real fast? I have to go just say hello to someone really quickly. Is there a button? Oh, what do we got here? What is this little notification? Sent 10 outer wood. Niku! What does that even mean, Niku? You sent 10 Outer Woods gift memberships. If I understand what that means, Niku, that is a remarkably generous thing for you to do to support the channel. That's a lot of trees, Niku. You got a lot of trees coming your way, bud. Um, I don't I don't know what that means in terms of who gets the gifting memberships, but Niku's coming up big for the chat today. Yeah, that's 10 trees, Niku. Squeegee, if you could help me understand maybe a little bit about what that means. But it looks like Niku's a big dog. Much appreciated, Niku. Niku, do you do any woodworking yourself, bud? Because that's extremely nice of you. And I'm going to be honest, I don't even really understand how that works right now, what a gifting a membership is. But that's very kind. Okay, 10 random people. Yeah. Okay, so 10 random people in the chat just got memberships. Let's go, Niku. That's sweet. Yeah. I think all those trees are going to be Niku's trees, even though different people actually got the memberships. I think those are Niku's trees. I don't know how we'll specify that. I'm just getting a power cord real fast. I'll be right back on the screen. Niku, how long have you known about the channel, bud? Did you just stumble in it today, or did you see some other videos that we posted in the past? Because that's so cool, dude. Okay, we're gonna cut some wood right now. Again, apologies that I'm a little frazzled today, everybody. A lot of things are going on, and this build's not as easy as I was hoping it was going to be. I've updated our tree drive estimate. We're at 36 trees for October. The goal was 50, and Niku just took a dent out of that. We have a shot with Niku here. Okay. I have two goggles. Look at this. Here's how frazzled I am, guys. I have two goggles and no mask. I went over to my pile of protective gear, two goggles, no masks. That's where we're at. Niku, you've jostled me. Okay. I'm probably gonna cut the wrong dang thing. Here we go. Woo! I need to clamp this. I'm already off my line too. Goodness, guys. Let's start the YouTube video real fast. Give me just a moment. All right, we're started.
far. We'll definitely have to sand this because the line I'm making is not perfect by any means. Just need a stool. Still good underneath. We'll just sand it. We'll just sand it. I'm not making a great line here, gang. It's gonna be better for me to come back around. Am I stuck on something? No. I am so off of the line right now. Good grief. Good freaking grief, dude. I've fallen off of something.
What just happened? See what I'm saying? Just a little out of sorts today. Yeah, the protection's overkill. Could be. Gotten plenty of things in my eyes, I can tell you that. So the goggles aren't overkill, especially with this one, because it kicks up these like granules. So the goggles are fine. It's noisy enough to where I don't want to listen to it. So earmuffs, good to go. And then the mask, I do full-time woodworking 5 to 7 days a week. Been doing it for 4 3/4 years, and I plan on doing it for many, many, many more years. And I don't think it would be good for me to breathe sawdust that often. So I wear those things. To go on the other side of it, to appease, who do we got here? Who was saying that? Rarno? To appease Rarno, who doesn't like protective gear, your boy's wearing sandals. So there's the There's the living on the wild side part of it. What happened? Why did this just... I could just cut this off. It might go there. I think it just slipped from something. I think we're okay. I have some things holding this up so that the blade doesn't hit the table underneath it. It's kind of difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Finette, I'm going to read that in just a second. That looks like it could be helpful about tracing.
All right. Getting there. I don't want to come from this side. It'll probably be okay. Sometimes the blade doesn't go perfectly vertical. And so when you match it back up, okay. Woo! There we go.
We have now made visible progress today. And damn it, don't you forget it. Oh man, I'm shredding through my memory on my poor DSLR camera because I'm trying to do that and talk to that live as well. Okay. We're doing great. We're doing so great. I know you can feel it with how even keeled I am. Okay, what do we got here, Finette? Do the shape again in reverse, but with a heavy lead pencil like a 4B, okay? And if you turn that one over on your piece of wood, it'll be in the right position. So basically just like essentially trace it really hard on the parchment paper so that it kind of makes like a little groove on the wood. I think that's what you're saying. Niku, it comes into shape now. Yeah, it's looking a little better. And believe me, before we end this today, you will see the topography. The thing we have to do now, if I cut this really crisp line, that's not the move. We have to cut inside of the really crisp line. That's the move. So to do so, I need a drill to make a little entry hole. I've got a drill. That's the drill. I need a drill bit. This guy will do. That's a little large, actually. This guy will do. I'm gonna need to sand this also. It's tremendously bumpy, but I figured that I could sand that when they're all in smaller pieces. That will be easier. Great. The only thing I need to preserve is this line. So I'm going to drill a hole right here. As a little starting point. Turns out oak is pretty hard. There it is. Great. Now, we just, I'm wondering if what I could do, could I just go all the way up until this line right here? I think I could. Okay, here's here we are. Here we are. There needs to be overlap. I don't think it matters too much how much overlap there is. The only reason it might matter is because when we are putting lights in it, if we decide to do that, when we put lights in it, will the light be more hard pressed to actually leave in between the layers if there's a bunch more overlap? You know what I mean? I think I'm going to do that though, because I can always take some off if I needed to. I could always take some off. Okay. So now we're going to cut exactly on this line. Yeah, because there's another layer in between that. That's what we're going to try. I have to make another hole. Unless I want to just, no, I'm just going to make another hole. Yep. No one will ever see that first hole. It's going to be fine. Okay. This is a really confusing, put your spare hand on top of the drill. Definitely could. Definitely could. Thank you, Devin. Appreciate it. The heavy lead will just transfer, hopefully. I don't know. Oh, we're maybe being facetious. Let's see. We were saying that maybe the heavy lead would like shred the paper. Yeah, it's gonna shred the paper. I don't know. Let's do this first, just to make sure that we're all, I don't, completely mess things up. What's up, Amin? Amin? Good to have you in the chat. Who else we got here? Niku and Finette still locking it down. Yeah, here we go. I'm just doing this one.
Okay. What's going on underneath? Okay. Like, it's just so loud. Why would you want to not have earphones on? suppose I could flip this. Come on. Whew. Ugh. I don't want to go. Okay. Okay.
How we doing, chat? We got some stuff. Look at all these. Look at all these things in the chat. Ruben, what's going on, Ruben? We go diving. Don't know what that means. Maybe he's talking about my earmuffs and my goggles. I don't know why no one likes to wear goggles. Yes, Seattle Woodman, that woodworking ASMR content. Yeah, let's get the, yeah, I can do the camera a little closer for the next one. Let me just make sure this actually pops out. Hello. We're out. Okay. Nice. So there's going to be one in between that. Nice. Okay, and we do have to cut out this guy purely because there will be a potted plant there. And we don't want... I would not fault you right now for being like, this is interesting in a not fantastic way, what you're making. Would not fault you for thinking that. We're going to get there, though, I promise. It's going to look very good. Just have to not... I just have to make sure that I keep everything organized. And organization is not my strong suit. Okay, so this goes here. So we have to cut out this internal circle, and it's just got to be bigger than this guy. So as long as we cut out kind of on the exterior of that, we'll be good to go. Because there's going to be one more level, and the plant's going to go on top of it. That's the goal. That's the idea. So let's cut this guy out. How you doing, chat? Anything that I need to... Are those emojis? Are those for the new members? The gifted memberships? Yeah, again, PPE was a bit over the top for the jigsaw. Lol. Listen, I'll say it again. The jigsaw, if you can see on the table, makes so much dust. So much. And I have used my jigsaw before, and that dust has gone straight into my eyeball. Wasn't even close. It's like 1-to-1 dust in eyeball. Therefore, goggles. The jigsaw is louder than I would like to listen to. Headphones. There you go. And then again, this is my full-time job. 5 days a week at a minimum. A lot of times 6 and 7 days a week. Every single day in this shop. Every single day I'm making sawdust. Been doing it 4.5 years. I plan on doing it a lot longer. All that said, I don't want to breathe dust that much. That doesn't seem like a fantastic call. I kind of breathe dust just inherently, but that one just kicks up so much. So that's why I wear it. We got to cut this out. My microphone has a little magnet in it, and it loves to stick to all sorts of things. Goodness. To prevent that, you'd put something underneath it that you don't mind drilling into. I just smashed through it. Also, I was thinking about it. I think it was someone named Devin said to put my hand behind it to give it more oomph. I have my entire chest in like upper body weight on it. So I think I'm giving it the oomph that it needs. All right, here we go. We'll cut out this middle part, and then we move on to the next, the next guy that will give us the alternating layers of this mound. Yeah, that's the goal. We'll give it a go.
We had a request for an up-close shot. Let's see if I can make this happen. We are trying to cut this circle. Doesn't need to be perfect. Here we go. I don't quite know how I'm going to get close to it. That's not great. Is that a little better? The hell? Woo! Goodness. Goodness. Just trying to turn it too quick, I think. Trying to do it to where you can see it. It's kind of hard. Woo! 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 It's just grabbing. Oh my goodness, guys. Holy moly. Okay. This guy is not important. He is trash. This guy's what we need. He goes like this. The
test to see if we've done this correct is if this can pass through it. Excellent. And that doesn't need to be a perfect circle. There will be times and places for the perfect circle. This is not the top layer. I just needed to cut out. This is the top layer. What I'm tracing, you can't see that. This is the top layer, what I'm tracing with my hand right now. That comes from a different piece of wood. He will have a perfect circle cut out for him, but since this has depth, it needs to go through that guy. That's why he is there. Okay, how are we doing? I just accidentally, hold on. There we go. Sorry, I swiped away for a moment when I was grabbing my camera. Whew, she ain't doing her job. I don't know if you're talking about the jigsaw. What was happening there is my angle that I was viewing and like actually working on the piece was really bad because I was trying to, what up, Cood map? My apologies for pronunciation. The angle was really bad. I was trying to keep my hands out of the way so that you guys could see what was going and try not to get my head in the way so that you could see what was happening. But in doing so, I couldn't like push down hard enough or like use my other hand to kind of secure the piece. And I was turning really sharp as well. And the blade was grabbing the wood. And instead of the blade going up and down, the blade stayed still and the whole machine was going up and down. That's what was happening there, if you were wondering. Okay. Here's what now needs to happen. There's another piece of wood that has layer 2 and layer 4 and layer 6. We just did layer 3 and layer 5. What's going up? ABD Irani? If I know who that is, what's going on, ABD Irani? Great to have you in the chat. If I don't, and you are not who I think you are, also great to have you in the chat. But I think I might know who that is. Okay. This is a colossal mess. Let's see if we can kind of clean this up really quick. Yeah, we need to grab the opposite layers, the alternating layers, from a different piece of wood. And we have not been working with that piece of wood yet. So let's see if we can do that quicker than we did all of this, so that I just want to show you the topography scheme. That's what the goal is today. And now that we kind of know what we're doing, I'm hoping that that goes quicker for attempt number 2. It just might go quicker. This is a larger feature. It comes from a larger panel, that is. Snoopy. What's going on, Snoopy? Yeah, you're in the live stream. What is happening? Snoopy, we're making a cool piece today, and ABD Irani, we're making a cool piece today, and everyone else who's come in that I haven't addressed, Kudmap, apologies for pronunciation. It is a topographical coffee table, and we are currently trying to make the layers of the topography. And it is turning out to be difficult, which is unfortunate. I was kind of hoping that I was just going to breeze through all this. Right on. Yeah, I was hoping that I was going to kind of breeze through all this. I have not. So, I have a broom for this. Hold on. We need to get the next... That's nice. That's satisfying, right? So we can actually see what's going on again. We need to get the next piece in here. Don't need this. And I believe that is this guy. Yeah, that's... Who you are? Layer 1, layer 3A. Layer 1, layer 3A. That's not him. Is it this guy? It's that guy. That's a big piece. That's a bummer. Okay, let's move him. We will need this room. We have a huge piece that we're about to put on the table. But we need to clear the actual map again. Can we see the map? Call me Map? We'll call you Map, because I still don't know how to pronounce K-U-D. That's coot or cud. All right. We can now see the topography map again. Get this. Remember how big that last piece was? We got a bigger one for this piece. Here we go. My word. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how we are going to have I positioned this correctly? I think I have. Where do you come from? Okay, you come from over there. You're cool. So you are layer 2B. This is 2B. Or not to be. Know what I'm talking about? That's the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms and opposing end them. I think that's how it goes. Shakespeare. Read a book. The guy says that doesn't read many books. All right, that's 2B. And we're back. Awesome. 2B, 4B, 6B. This is a lot of wood that doesn't do a lot. That's okay. And then this also gets a lot of stuff over there. 4C. Yeah. Okay, man, that's a lot of wood that doesn't do much for us. Great. So now we need to trace this again, right? Got some fire emojis, Seattle Woodman, you bet. Let's trace this again. So we're still thinking parchment paper, right, guys? No one's come up with anything novel for the parchment paper? I think we still have to do the parchment paper. Unfortunately, I don't know if it will do us much of any good to use the last parchment paper for all this stuff in here. I think we just got to use, yeah, here we go. Dang. Yeah, we'll just do it. We'll just do it. So we have to, anyone just coming into the chat, we have to get the design that I've made on the plywood table onto the pieces of wood that this will actually be cut from. How wide is this? So 15 inches? It is 15 inches. Okay, cool. So 2 of those would do it. That's nice. I don't even know if we need 2, but we'll do 2. Okay, we need a few nails, and we need a hammer. How we doing? Yeah. Nightbot's locking it down with the reminder about the tree drive. And Niku is a big dog in the chat. Niku gifted 10 memberships, which is 10 trees planted in Niku's honor. Niku, I'll ask you a question here, my man, my woman. Niku's it could be anything. Niku, you could be whatever you'd like, bud. Niku, what type of tree do you want us to try to go find to plant in your honor? You can't pull it too hard over here because the nail will rip through the parchment paper, which just happened. All right. Yeah, Niku, what sort of tree do you want? I can't promise that we will make that type of tree happen, but I can promise I will at least look into it. What is that you're creating on that piece of wood? Okay. I haven't said it in a little while, so I will describe it again. Sorry for everyone in the chat who has heard this already. I'll just have a little reminder. So this is a coffee table. I do mostly custom woodworking with this business called Outer Woods, where someone reaches out and they say, hey, I want this piece, X piece, whatever. That's typically what I do. But typically, the people who are reaching out aren't wanting super, super interesting stuff. Sometimes they do. Sometimes I get to make really cool pieces. Not terribly often, though, is it really cool pieces. But I have this market coming up in November, mid-November. And this market, I just get to make whatever I want to. And these things that I'm making are very artistic, and they are kind of, I would consider them somewhat, each one of a risk, because I don't know how long it's going to be, how long it's going to take to make something. I also don't know if the thing that I'm making looks as good in reality as it does on paper or in my brain. But all that to say, what I'm making is a coffee table. The top of it is glass, and the inside of it, which you can see through the glass, is going to be a really unique topographical landscape made from layers of wood. And you can't see it perfectly now. You can see it under the parchment paper. Just an interesting question that I'll get to in a second. You can't see it under the parchment paper that well, but it's what I have drawn on this junk piece of plywood table is the actual scheme of the topography. And I'm trying to trace that scheme onto some parchment paper so that I can then transfer it to the actual hardwood that the table will be made out of. So I'm making the topography layers right now. And then at the end, after I've made all these layers, the fun part will be these plants, these potted plants, will go into different places in the topography. Okay, I had an interesting question. What kind of tree? It's my choice. Okay, I'll try to find some interesting trees, but also definitely want to do something that will actually survive where I live in Texas. Don't want to get like some jungle tree that needs, 300 inches of rain a year or something. Okay, do you make any money out of what I create? Wonderful question. I get by. I'm still very much in the camp of struggling artist, is the base, or is the description that I would call it. And so yes, I do make money on what I create. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do it full time, because I have to be able to pay my little rent for my home and my shop, and I have to eat. And luckily, I do make enough pieces and good enough pieces, I suppose, that I make some money off of it to where I can afford essentially those things. So that, I guess, is a deeper, more introspective way of saying I do make some amount of money on these pieces. This guy will be interesting. Shoot. This guy will be interesting because I do not have a client yet for this piece. And I'm going to spend hours and hours and hours on this piece. I don't know how many hours. That's still very much up in the air right now. But hours and hours and hours on this piece. And I've spent already hundreds of dollars on materials for all the oak. I have to spend hundreds of dollars on the panel of glass that will be over the table. I will most likely have to spend hundreds of dollars on the house plants that go into the table. There will be some hardware like wheels. There will be a finish, and a nice finish. It's a finish called Rubio Monocoat. If you have seen any video I have ever made, you probably have heard me getting marker all over my damn arm. I use Rubio Monocoat a lot, but it's a very high-end finish. So I spent money on that. Spent money on parchment paper. Not really. I mean, technically yes, but whatever, right? I don't really need to draw this line, I don't think. I'm going to have it so that in case I need it, it's there, but I don't think I need this line. Because we've already cut that line. Anyway, what I was saying is literally just in expenses, this is it's an expensive table. Like if you just put together labor and materials that I have incurred, this is an expensive table. And if I didn't sell it, I would just have to eat all that. And I'm going to go to this market, bringing this table and other tables, which I will have the same risk, put a price tag on it that I think is fair, and see if it sells. So I don't have anyone that is going to buy this table immediately in mind. So it's always a little bit sketchy to just make something and hope someone likes it enough to buy it. Okay. Yeah. The tape. Yeah, tape doesn't work, which is a real bummer. Tape does not work on parchment paper, which really complicated this whole situation. And if you guys are going to stick with me, phone battery might be an issue, but I can always take off the mic. If you guys will stick with me, we will get this mound over here created by the time the stream is done, assuming I can plug my phone into a charger. And I would imagine, I don't know if anyone's asked this question yet, I'm getting so much magic marker on me because it takes a minute for it to dry on the parchment paper. Okay. Then I need all these. There's another little view over here, gang. This view. A question that I would be asking in the chat, and the reason I say that is because I'm asking this question to myself in real life, is, okay, Tan Man, so you're going to spend a lot of time and materials on this project. You're going to go try to sell it at a market. How much are you going to sell a coffee table like this for? I don't know. I don't know. I'll probably put it at a price in the beginning that is a little aggressive. Because at the end of the day, a piece like this, I hope this isn't a pompous thing to say. It's honestly, it gets more into the realm of art than just a functional, table. And it is going to be a functional table, but I'm trying to make something that when people walk up to it, they're like, I've never seen this before. I really want that in my home so I can just look at it, which is how I would describe someone talking about some art. And the cool thing about art is that there really is no benchmark for how much art can cost. It's like this concept that I kind of came to so a couple years ago. I was doing this market, right? Same market, first year that I was doing it. And the first time I did it, I came to the market with about 50 cutting boards. Because I was like, it's right around the holidays. Let's make items that people will buy for holiday gifts. And we did okay. We sold some boards, but these boards were like really, really, really pretty cutting boards. And man, this is going to be a nightmare to transfer. We can do it. We can do it. Anyway, I'll keep telling the story. So brought a bunch of cutting boards, right? And the comment that I got most was, I don't want to get this because I wouldn't want to cut on it because it's too pretty. Which I was like, listen, I made these so that you can cut on them and have them as like really, really reliable, long-lasting kitchen tools. But anyway, good call going inside to outside. Yeah, that would have been the right call. Anyway, they didn't want to buy them because they didn't want to mess them up. So I was like, all right, I hear you. Then the next year, I came back and I made a slightly larger cutting board in the same way. I made it the in-grain, if you know woodworking at all, I made an in-grain cutting board. And it had probably it was pretty big. It was like 34 inches by 34 inches, which would have been a massive, massive cutting board. But I did the same thing where you basically get like hundreds of tiles and you can make these crazy mosaics with wood. You have all these little pixels. And I legitimately made the exact same technique as I did with cutting boards. Exact same technique. But instead of having it be a cutting board, I put a frame around it and I hung it up on a wall like they asked me to do because they didn't want to cut on it because it was too pretty or whatever. Hung it up on a wall and was able to charge much more because it had no function. It's weird. Art's weird. Anyway, all that to say, this definitely fits into the category of art. So I don't know what to charge for it. Okay. Let me draw a few things to make sure that I can line this up again. Honestly, I probably didn't need to do that. You could probably just do the lines here. Man, this is going to be tough. I think the move is just to take off everything, put the base one down, get it situated, and then get the top two situated. That's got to be the way, right? You try to put the paper with the paper upside down and press really hard on traces or trace it with the other side pressing really hard so the marker will print on the wood. I have not tried that. I don't know if I quite understand that method that you're describing. Like, get out of there. I think I like what's it called, like copy paper, where you like write on something and you write on it so hard that it goes to the next thing, or it's like this chemical where under pressure or something it slightly changes colors. So like you can write a receipt on something and then you get to keep one and the customer gets to keep one. Are you kind of talking about that? Is that what you're going for? It's kind of how I'm understanding it. Let me just get this on. Let me get this on. Ah, I didn't draw the damn sidelines. Ah, man. That didn't need one. Shoot. Okay. We're okay. Hopefully, this hasn't moved too much and we can still... I didn't draw the outline of the whole thing, which I need to trace on here so that I can cut out the outline. Hopefully. That's okay. That's the one we need. All right. Let's try to transfer this thing. I think there's going to be a lot of waste on this piece of wood. How much extra room do I have? I did not leave myself much room. That's cool. How are we doing, chat? What up, Glenn Chappie? How are we doing, my man? Rick Wallace, what's going on? Oh. We got some stuff going on in the chat. Yeah, carbon paper, that's the one. All right. Let's get this on there. Is this the top one? It looks to be the top one. Okay. Can we get this on there? There's not much room to spare, but I think it's... Oh, we could tack it up here. I think. We can tack it up there. Yeah. All right. The key is having this bottom edge super, super flat. I hope there's enough wood in the corner here to hold on to. All right, we can't pull it too hard because the parchment paper rips. So just enough to kind of get it taut. All right, that one's in. Let's get an insurance nail. Ow. I don't know intuitively yet where we need to preserve / not preserve. Okay. This one goes in the corner. You can't see that. Garth. Okay, Garth. Right on, Big Squeegee. Yes, throwing the draw in the chat. Hey, that's all right. A lot of people out there on the internet. Okay, right on. This goes here. And can we get it to, oh man, this is gonna be tough to get to line up. I think we can do it though. Just need to start getting little checkpoints. That's a pretty good checkpoint. Now I got these two little marks over here. And another checkpoint. Awesome. Yeah. Why not one more checkpoint? Ow. Okay. And this guy. Right in chat. Right on. Right on. I need to take this nail out, unfortunately. Okay. Let me put that nail back in. Can we line it up? We're lined up. Let's get another little checkpoint here. Cool. One more little checkpoint. Mic check. Check 1, 2. Oh gosh, how's our phone battery doing? Oh, hey, Chief, we got 7%. 7% on the phone battery. We're going to get a... what's happening here? We're going to get a charger in just a second. We should probably do that now. All right, I am going to undo the mic. Let me come back. I'll be back in 15 seconds, 30 seconds. No mic, but we're going to be charged up so that we can keep going. Because I want to show you guys the topography map come hell or high water. Can we still hear me? All right, I'm just getting a charger. All right. We have a charger. Bang. We got to plug it in to the charger. Yeah, these marathon sessions kind of take a toll on my phone's battery. How can we? No. Don't forget to talk towards the phone. Yeah, definitely. All right, we are plugged. Cool. So yeah, this is the part where we didn't have a fantastic way to do it. I'm just like, I don't think, like I have a nail in my hand right now, right? And I need to trace this onto the thing underneath it. I don't, like I'm doing it in just a scratch area. I can't see, like it ripped the paper immediately, and I can't see on the wood the line I was trying to draw. So unfortunately, I'm just going to really quickly try to rip this out. By doing nails in it. I can be quick about this. You know what? I have a little. See if I can find it super quickly. Instead of using a nail, bang! Found it. I actually have I have no idea what this is called. A little. Oh, yep, that's the move. And we will sand all of this, so it doesn't need to be perfect. You know what I wonder? We've been talking about how to do these live streams on my phone. And then my phone's also the same recording device that I need to take permanent footage so that I can edit Instagram and YouTube Shorts. But I wonder, I'm doing it vertically, right? And of course, this isn't the best camera quality because I'm using my selfie camera. But once this is posted to YouTube, it's on there. And I could go grab that, like screen record or something. The footage, it's probably not the exact footage I'd be getting if I were just not trying to talk to a chat and not trying to engage in all this sort of stuff. But I can get some of it and make the Instagram videos that I need to make from it. Could be the move, chat. There's something under here. Ugh, that's frustrating. All right. Can we see this? Yeah, we still kind of see it. Oh, I also have to make sure I project. An X-Acto knife, leave a mark on the wood if you cut along the paper. The X-Acto knife might. I just don't know, like, it's gonna tear through the paper, I think. It definitely would if it was making a mark on the wood. And my fear with that, Finette, is that I've only got the entire sheet pinned down in so many spots. And if I start cutting away paper, would it like free things up and release pieces to where all of a sudden my lines aren't where they need to be and I start losing the shape? I'm getting there. I'm making progress. How long have we been going? 147? Cool. $335. I'm telling you, I'm good to keep going. And I really want to show you guys what the topography is going to look like. That's my goal. And we're charged. I might need to go grab a drink of water, but we're just going. What's going on in the chat here? Yeah, got to talk to the phone. Wall's moving. Yeah, it's spooky. All right, cool. We're still cool. All right. This is just last one over here. All right, here's something for the chat to hash out. It is currently October 23rd, if I have my dates correct. I want to hear what people are going to be for Halloween, if you celebrate Halloween. Is that a global thing? I mean, I know it's probably kind of celebrated other places, but Finette, you guys do Halloween over in France? Sorry, I dropped the chisel. You guys do Halloween in France, Finette? I think I have the opportunity to go to a Halloween costume party on the 31st of October. And I think if I do, I'm going with the classic. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Big deal in France now. That's cool. Recently, I have been getting my money's worth out of a cockroach costume that I bought last year on Amazon. I actually bought the costume not even for Halloween. But on Instagram, this was actually the only time on Instagram I've ever done a straight up, there was a company that reached out and said, hey, we like your stuff. Can you make a video showcasing our product and we will pay you to do so? That's the only time that's ever happened on Instagram. And I spent half of the payment on this Halloween, this cockroach costume. So that was on me. But it was a pest control company, and they asked, they wanted me to showcase their pest control for the shop. And I thought the best way to do that was by getting a cockroach costume. The video is great. If you go to Instagram and go back about a year ago, sometime in October in 2024, you can see that video. But anyway, that's recently been the, I assume you mean the same cockroach costume in the ghost video. That's the one. yeah, that's just ghost video. We just posted a full-length video on our YouTube, and yeah, it's a really cool video. We were super excited about it, and it showcases how to make 3 different tiers or levels of wooden ghosts. You know what I'm just realizing too? I don't think, so we're gonna cut out this one. I don't think I need to do this guy because we're gonna go inside of that. So I need to do this guy. Okay, we just got more efficient with this, gang. Good job, everybody. But yeah, anyway, it showcases how to make a beginner level ghost out of wood, and then an intermediate level ghost out of wood, and then I explore how difficult it is to make an expert level ghost out of wood. It was originally supposed to be kind of a quicker and easier video, but as they all seem to go, I just get too excited about it, and then I edit the video such that it is just as focused on, you know, attention to detail, just as hopefully engaging, as long, as clean and effortful of edits, as much effort on the title and the thumbnail and all that sort of stuff as this video will be. So yeah, I think that video edit was like a 30 or 40 hour video edit, and that didn't even include the who knows how long it took to actually make all 3 of the ghosts. So it's a good video. We posted that yesterday, and we're still in the early phases of seeing how it's going to perform. It's always it always stimulates the monkey brain to look at the little numbers. No, I've done this correctly. After I make all my marks here, I'm going to grab a drink of water. I've been going a little ways without water. Almost there, gang. Bang. Okay. And so we cut out that one directly on the line. This is that guy. So the next thing is this guy, which we cut out directly on the line, and we have that. This is that guy. This we cut out directly on the line. And then, shoot, yeah, we didn't need to do all those as well. That's fine. Okay. How we doing? Yo, are you bleeding? Am I bleeding? Is this? Ah, okay, yeah. That's black magic marker. We're cool. We're cool, Mr. Biffix. Typically, I know when I'm bleeding. A lot of sawdust in this here water. Tell you what, why don't you come with me? We'll go to the local watering hole, which is a sink in the shop. I'm going with the Grim Reaper costume. That's what I'm talking about, Niku. Yeah, the ghost that lit up. Wasn't that cool? Am I gonna do Christmas stuff? You bet I'm gonna do some Christmas stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Drop it somewhere. Maybe in the comment section of the ghost video, or the comment section here, or wherever. If you have ideas for holiday themed stuff, I'm just going to get some water. Yeah, if you have ideas for holiday themed stuff, let me know. I think that'd be cool. You know, once a season, try to essentially do some sort of piece that's kind of a how-to. I'm putting you up next to the. Yeah, so we could do something for like Thanksgiving. And I apologize, I only really know major holidays in America. But if there are other holidays that have cool like traditions that could feasibly have things made for them, let me know. Because yeah, we could do all sorts of different things. All right, I got the water. I was having a conversation earlier today, centered around making sure I was more hydrated than I have been recently. I was like, yeah, that's the plan. And then here I go doing a 3-hour-long chat. Bob's Burgers from Big Squee. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay. So theoretically, we can now take these pieces of paper off. Before I do that, probably should get this on the DSLR camera for the YouTube video. I didn't hit record. Where is the record button? There it is. All right. I have that line as best as I can have that line. This just goes to the end there. That goes to the end there. I have some marks here. Got that one. Don't need that one. Have this one. Don't need that one. Got that one. And I got all those. All right, we're gonna take all these off. Come on. There we go. Okay. I kind of feel like a pirate looking at all my maps. Oh, we got one more. Oh man, now I gotta make sense of all these dots. Whew. Some of them are relatively straightforward. Let's start making them. Can you... Oh shoot, gang. We need to get you plugged back in. It's not actually increasing my battery life, it's just preventing it from dying. Or at least preventing it from dying slower. Mare, what's going on? Good to see you in the chat. All right, I'm connecting all these dots now. And for people that have come in recently, what am I making? It is a coffee table. And I'll spare some of the details this time because I've explained it a few times and I don't want to be redundant. But the main feature of it, or the main kind of cool part of it, is that the coffee table has a glass tabletop, and then inside that you can see, it's like this topographical map. Oops. And we are currently trying to make all of the layers for the topographical map. I'm connecting the dots. You can't really see other than here. So for this market, this upcoming market, I'm trying to make 5 tables, and they're going to be really, really interesting tables. This is one of them. I'm going to be making a gaming table. If you guys have ever seen or heard of those, it's essentially you can put on or remove kind of like these table topper leaves. And in doing so, you can either cover up or reveal a gaming surface, a gaming vault underneath the table. Right, look at that line. That's cool, right? Kind of see it. I don't want to make it too big and broad so that when I'm doing the saw, I don't have a lot of decisions to make. I just try to stay on the very, very narrow, skinny line. So yeah, making a gaming table as one of the 5. Another one of the 5 is, you can't see it, but it's a really cool live edge table. There's no epoxy in this one. Not doing epoxy this year, actually. Which I'm wondering if that... Wonder if I've overlooked that, because businesses really like epoxy tables for conference rooms and things like that. That's okay. So yeah, we're doing this one. We're doing that. It's a live edge table, features a live edge slab, and then I have basically mirrored the live edge slab with some walnut wood. And I put them together across from each other, mirrored of each other. There's actually going to be a small gap in it, 2-inch gap in between the two of them. So you have this really cool live edge river essentially, but with no epoxy. And then that's a coffee table, and it's got really cool waterfall joints on the edges of it. So we got this, the plant table, which we're working on, the topography plant table. We've got the gaming table. We've got that live edge table. Then I'm going to do a carved table. So if you saw the ghost video, if you saw me carving that ghost, same concept, but we're just going to make that into a table. It's not going to look like a ghost. It's just going to be very organically and uniquely carved. That's number 4. Then number 5 for tables. I've seen this before, and It's really cool. It's called a tension table. And the way they work is essentially you have two parts, a top half and a bottom half. And you connect the two of them only by string or rope or chain. But you do it in such a way to where you actually have the tables looking like they're, the top half at least, looking like it's floating. Because intuitively you're like, rope or chain or string can't make a tabletop stay up in the air. And all I see here are strings. So it looks kind of like unsettling. So you're like, why is that top half floating? Anyway, I've seen them made before. Some of them nicer than others. Some of them are just like plywood and 2x4s just to kind of show off the concept. But I want to make one with like elite craftsmanship, wood, etc. And then still, those are going to be end tables. See what I'm doing here? You cannot. There you go. But bring tables to the market previous years. Yes. Okay. Yes. So Finette, great question. And then Snoopy, I'll get to you in just a second with that question. Did I bring tables to the market in previous years? Yeah. So this will be the third time I've done this market. It's really fun, honestly, because for the most part, up until these live videos, really, I just kind of like am in my shop by myself working on things, and then I'll finish a custom piece and then I'll bring it to the customer's house, the client's house. They'll see it and they'll say, this is great. This is what I was looking for. Thank you. And that's that. But these markets are so fun because it's a really big market in Austin. It's at a huge convention center called the Palmer Event Center in Austin, Texas. And thousands of people come to this holiday market. And there are a bunch of different vendors, but most of the vendors are like, there's a lot of jewelry vendors, there's a lot of clothes vendors, there's like, knickknacks, and it's mostly jewelry and clothes, honestly. I'm the only woodworker that goes, and I have a really good time with it because people like come to the booth and they're like, oh, this is very, very different from everything else here. Another reason it's so different is because shoot, I have to make one more hole here. Most of the people at this market, they don't make their own stuff. They're retail stores, essentially. So when people come to the Outer Woods booth and they're like, who makes all this? I'm like, I make this. It's kind of weird for them. Because I also don't look old enough really to be doing professional woodworking, just kind of stereotypically. But anyway, Finette, to answer your question, super fun. And last year was the first year that I brought pieces to the market, big furniture pieces, big tables. And last year I brought 4 tables and 4 pieces of wall art. I sold 2 of the tables and 2 of the pieces of wall art. I ended up giving one of the tables away to my dad as he kind of hangs up his career and gets ready for retirement. I was like, that'd be a cool thing to give to him, to signify a job well done on a career. And yeah, it was really cool, but also was hoping that table would sell at the market. It did not. Okay, I need to also, I'm 99% sure that I put I put this in here. So I need to cut this out. So anyway, yeah, I brought 8 pieces last year. I sold 4 of them. And that means that I still have the piece that I gave to my dad, which that's not going to go anywhere. That's his forever now. And then I just have another dining table sitting in a storage unit that will stay there probably for a while. Cut out. This is not another layer. That's just the same sort of thing that we did with the last one where I need to... Oh, shoot. Hold on. This also needs to come out of there, doesn't it? Yikes, that's going to be tough. Wait a second. How does this work? I'm going to do that later. I don't quite know. I cut that out. I cut this out. And I cut this out. Oh, that needs the perfect circle cut out of it. Yeah. That just needs the perfect circle cut out of it. We're cool. I'm not going crazy. That's great. I'm just making sure before I start cutting that I do indeed know what I'm about to do. So this gets cut out. That goes on top of it. Then this gets cut out. Get on top of that one. Okay. All right, I just need to make those cuts. Cool. That's still pretty good. What time is it now? 4 o'clock. We can get some of these done. We can get all of these done. I need my spacers. There they are. I really do wish that I knew where that last piece of 2-inch thick white oak was. That way I wouldn't have to use shims on everything. That's all right. Okay. Putting these spacers underneath so the blade has room to oscillate. This guy will put on the outside. Let's get the shims. That's gonna jiggle, but that's okay. All right, gang, let's cut this out. I'm excited to start seeing. You will see in real time with me whether or not this even looks cool. It's 10:05 in the evening in AB. I don't know where AB is, but that's cool. Britain, right on. That's cool. Colleen, am I pronouncing that correctly? Very cool. Hello from Britain. Does Britain do Halloween? All right, we're gonna cut this.
Here we go. All right. We'll start over here. We can get that later. It's gonna be tough, man. I'm not on the line. There it is. How we doing?
How we doing, chat? It's an Irish name, Colleen. Right on. Let's see. Is that a hammer drill or a jigsaw? Yeah, I think jigsaw. I think jigsaw is the one. I always get jigsaw, scrolling saw. There's another one that's kind of like that. Bandsaw, that's something else. They're all... If you know what they do, that's kind of, you know, that's all you really need in my book. If you know what it does, you're good. That's what I tell myself. I guess you have to maybe know what it's called so that you can go look up things. This is just throwaway. Let me real fast, for the YouTube video, I want to, oh my gosh, we've been recording the whole time. Hey, we captured it. I was gonna go turn it on. I was gonna go turn it on to try to fake a shot, fake this shot, pulling that away, because that's kind of cool. Turns out we've been recording the whole time. I had like 2.5 hours of footage on my SD card at the beginning of this. I probably have like 15 minutes now, so that's a bummer. New Roots Dynamic, what's going on? Great to see you. How's it going indeed? It's going well. I don't know, chat, is it going well? I've been a little bit more frazzled and unsure of how to do things correctly in this build, more so than other ones recently. No, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, we're doing an interesting build today. And we'll do interesting builds every single day for the next 4 weeks. Okay. What we're doing is we're trying to make a topography looking thing that will be on the interior of a coffee table. And I'm trying to decipher. So I need this to be perfectly intact. But this guy goes on top here. Okay, that is the first of all of this that we can see right now. He will be here. So we just need that to be intact. Yeah, we're definitely gonna need to smooth those out because they don't look fantastic yet. We'll be fine. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it, gang. I am seeing it. All right, let's cut out the next thing. We don't need to dilly-dally. We're just gonna keep cutting things out. I'm gonna make a hole right here, because I need this to be perfectly intact, so the hole's gonna come from the outside. Is that how I did it in the last one? The hole was on the outside, I cut to the inside. Okay, awesome. Now we cut that out. Now we just cut it out. Why do we need a dally? Let's just cut it out. Chat, anything? Yes, it is a topography map. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, that SD storage, that's gone. Absolutely gone. I just got a external hard drive, a 4 terabyte external hard drive. And I was still like, let's be efficient with filming, right? Meanwhile, this is the first time that I've tried to do a live and capture things on my DSLR camera for YouTube at the same time, and I keep forgetting to turn off the recording. I'm okay with that because it captured a lot of good stuff, but it's just gonna be horrifically inefficient now to edit. So be it. It is what it is. Here we go. Just cut it out. We're just gonna cut it out. Is there anything underneath this? Maybe over there. Okay. We're close. We're close. Ow.
We still good, chat? What up, dudes? All right. Extra lovely.
Dude, my hand is covered, absolutely covered in magic marker. That's all right. I'm not gonna lie, I lost the line a few times. That's okay. Okay, now, how do I get this out of here? Come on. Hello? Hey, chat? There it is. Okay. That's... Do I need this? I don't think so. All right. We need this. This guy we'll do in a moment. With one more circle, we're going to be able to show you a good section of all the topography. One more circle. Hang in there for one more circle, and you will get to see in real time with me the first kind of look to see if this will actually be cool. Believe me, I am nervous. Okay, we need to cut this out. So a hole on the outside of this. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time visualizing what will happen underneath each layer. But I think a hole right here is going to be a-okay. God, that's so jarring every single time. Okay. Do you guys, you know what? I'm gonna keep you there because we're plugged in right now, and it kind of took me a second to. Squeegee definitely. I think I have a clip in. Let's see. Someone clip him trying to. Yeah. Yeah. That kind of reminds me, if you watch the ghost video, when I was drilling the expert level eyes for the ghost, what happened at the very end is I put the drill bit, the Forstner bit, through the wood, but it didn't actually like ream out the full circle. It like broke through half of it and like slipped in while turning. And so I couldn't get out the drill bit from the eyeball. So I was like trying to, Excalibur style my drill bit. But the funny part is it was like in this thing's face. So it was like kind of human. Anyway, same sort of vibe. One more cut, I'm stalling. After I make this cut, we will be able to see the first look at an actual kind of like larger chunk of the topography. I'm not moving the camera because the charger is very precariously placed right now. We're almost there, gang.
Okay. That thing that's pretty good. Yeah, because I just exploded the bottom of this. These are gonna need some real sanding. Oh boy. Oh boy.
I'm telling you, you know, what's the, when you like are driving on a highway for a while? Yeah, you know when you're driving on a highway and you just kind of zone out and you can do stupid stuff? I feel like that's kind of what I was doing with this jigsaw. I think I was just driving on a highway and I'd find myself like nowhere near the line. Okay, gang. I think we're gonna put this together and then we might call it there. But let's see what it looks like. I'm very curious. I'm very curious what this is going to look like. We don't have all the short side of the table done up. Don't have all that done up yet. Okay. And layer 2 goes on. Pardon the, is that where this goes? That is where this goes. The pencil marks are going to make this kind of difficult to look past and see the beauty in all of this, but see if you can. Something's remarkably off. I don't know where the arrow was. Is this upside down? I don't think that's upside down. Maybe it's upside down? Yikes. It's just where that was. Okay. I don't know if that's in the right orientation. This. Don't know if that's in the right spot. That's good. Yeah! That's really cool. Oh shoot, that's so cool. Can we see it, chat? Yo, we can see it, chat. What do we think? I'm actually pretty stoked about that. And believe me, it looks as ugly as it's going to look right now. Oh, that's great, and it's hollow here for the plot, the plant pot. Goodness. Okay, so obviously I need to make one more in there, but that guy's gonna sit, you know? And if you have a plant at the top of that, yo, I'm thrilled with that. That's gonna be so cool. That's gonna be so cool. Like if that's just right at the top, buried in there, and you got a nice little green plant. What do we think, chat? Cool or not cool? You're kind of my litmus test. It's like you knew what you were doing. Or something like that. New Roots Dynamic, you came in after I had fumbled my way through this live stream. Like, it was one of my more clunky live streams, I will say. Finette, thank you. Looks great. I appreciate that. Seattle Woodman, yeah. Yes, sir. LeMan, underscore man. Neat. Thank you. Neat. You missed the fumble. New Roots Dynamic. I was fumbling hard. Let me just... Van Accessory Studio. I hope Van Accessory Studio is someone who makes van accessories. That'd be sweet. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, what a live stream, gang. That was a grind of a live stream. I need a snack. I got magic marker everywhere. But thank you guys for sticking in there with me. That was fun. That was our longest one yet. 200 minutes. That's almost 4 hours for a stream. That's what I'm talking about. All right. You guys have a good rest of your Thursday. I'm doing trivia tonight. Wish me luck. When do we see the rest? According to my schedule, Finette, this is supposed to be done next week. It's we got a long way to go. I do not see. Thank you, New Roots Dynamic. Yeah, good seeing you too, bud. Appreciate you coming out to the stream. Yeah, I don't know, Finette, exactly how I'm going to be able to show you guys. I'll probably do another live stream at some point on this guy. Maybe when I'm getting closer to having it looking nice. I don't know in the order of YouTube videos, like full-length YouTube videos, what number this one is going to be. It's not the next one. It's probably not even 2 from now. Maybe it's the 3rd one from now. That's my best guess. But maybe if we do a live stream, I mean, there's other parts to this, right? There's like, we did 1 mound of 4. Yeah, so there's other parts. So we might be able to do more, and you'll see kind of more of it in its full form. But we're gonna call it there. Have a good Thursday, everybody. If I don't see you, have a good weekend as well. Wherever you are in the world, have a great day. Thank you guys so much for coming out and supporting. Let's see. And then one more big shout out to, hold on, let me make sure I'm getting the name exactly right. Niku225. If you are still there, MVP of the chat for all of those gifted memberships. That's huge. But yeah, take care, everyone, Finette. You betcha. You guys have a great night. And we will see you hopefully in a day or 2 or 3 or 4, sometime around there for another live video. Peace.